All right. Welcome to another podcast by the UST group. Now, this podcast is going to be it's going to be all over the place a little bit, talking about various things. Obviously, we're going to talk about March Madness, talk about the NBA, just a little, talk about the NFL just a little bit towards the end of free agency, and then we're going to talk about actually baseball this time. I know we don't talk about baseball a little bit, but there's a little bit of scandal going on, so we're going to kind of talk about that and figure out what's going on there. So first things first. In general, we're just gonna talk about March Madness and kind of what the best games, and kind of how our bracket's looking like. I know that mine is totally demolished. Okay, um, the Oakland game and the Oakland Kentucky game totally killed my bracket. Had Kentucky going to the Final Four. I thought for sure they could outscore anybody.
Yeah.
And they couldn't even outscore Oakland with a guy that shoots 15 threes or 20 threes in a game. So I know I had James Madison winning, but that doesn't matter when BYU loses to Duquesne. Auburn loses. I had Auburn going far. What's your best games and what's your bracket looking like, Brett?
Um, I think everybody's brackets are
Oh
destroyed
yeah.
now.
Oh
But one of my best games was it did like you look at the score and it wasn't like super close, but Illinois and Morehead State,
yeah.
like it was close up until like halfway through the second half,
Yeah.
and then Illinois' bigs just took over.
Yeah.
Terrence Shannon Jr.
Right.
was making all the effort plays and stuff, but Morehead State they were sticking in it for quite a while.
Yeah, they actually had the lead for a little bit too.
Yeah.
For a while. I know that we kind of picked McNeese to beat Gonzaga, but Gonzaga came out and just played well. I mean, they played great defense. That McNeese took terrible shots the whole time. It was kind of hard to watch as a former basketball player. That it was kind of terrible to watch. As a 12 seed, you got to make shots, but they got to be good shots. Obviously, Oakland, they made a lot of shots, but they may not have been good shots. They just made shots because that kid can shoot. But McNeese was shooting off the top of the backboard, off the side of the backboard, hitting the bottom of the rim somehow. It was kind of terrible to watch. Gonzaga just ran through them. And then let's talk about that Kansas-Sanford game. Did you see the ending of that game?
I did not, but I heard about it.
Yeah, so I was watching it. Sanford was actually in it the whole time. I mean, it says Kansas won by 4, but I mean they had the lead with like a minute left. It was kind of going back and forth, and then this guy gets a breakaway. He's dunking the ball, and the Sanford player literally doesn't even touch him at all and blocks it as he's dunking it from behind. And they call a foul, and they go up by 4 with like 30 seconds left, and that kind of changed the game for Sanford. But I know that the thing right now is, we want Sanford in it because they kind of got scammed. They didn't really have a chance to come back with like 10, 15 seconds left, down by 4. And then another game Creighton was close the whole game. They finally won that game. I know that Creighton has the best chance from the first round, if they win their first round game, to get to the Final Four. I know that Oregon is pretty good. They have in that second round game, but I mean, on paper, it's March Madness. On paper, Creighton has a chance to go all the way, but just from the games that you can see who they're going to play, they're going to play Tennessee, but I think Creighton still, their size is going to put them over the top in that game. And then who else? Where other? Oh, let's talk about the Dayton Nevada game, because I had Nevada going really far, and they have a 17-point lead with 7 minutes left, and they blow it.
Crazy.
I was watching the game. I was like, yeah, this Nevada's going to go all the way. Going to go to the Elite Eight for sure. and I was just watching it, and right when I turned the game on, it just diminished. I just watched the lead diminish, and I turned it off,
It's
and
all because of you.
yeah, and it was like they still lost. Um, and then man, these high scoring games, um, Alabama and Charleston, like what?
Yeah, that's insane.
I was watching the game, and I didn't think that they would score 109 points. 109 to 96. I watched like the first 10 minutes of it. And then another upset for me, I had St. Mary's going to the Elite Eight, and Grand Canyon beating them by 9. Like completely dominated them. Um, so this is March, right? We have a 14 seed and 11 seed playing against each other, NC State and Oakland. We have Duquesne versus Illinois, Yale versus San Diego in the second round. James Madison versus Duke. I feel like that's going to be a really good game. I don't know why, but that's actually going to be a really close game. Any games on you for you that you're excited for in the second round?
Um, Looking at it, I think James Madison Duke's one of them. I think North Carolina Michigan State will be a good game.
Yeah.
And then Oregon and Creighton.
Yeah, that one's going to be good. For me, it's like I'm excited for the Gonzaga Kansas game. Two blue bloods. I know that they're kind of down this year, both of them, but
Yeah.
Gonzaga's probably going to win that game just because Kansas' 2 top scorers are out, so they might against a really really good defense because McNeese didn't play great defense. Against a really really good defense, it's going to be hard for them to score. But I would agree, or the Oregon Creighton game. Oregon has great bigs. Dialli, I think that's how you say his name, and Creighton has that big guy too. I think it's gonna be a really good game.
Or whatever.
Yeah. Just looking at it, San Diego State and Yale. That's gonna be a good game. Ladie had like 32 points for San Diego State yesterday, and they have the top 5 defense in this bracket and in the nation. And then Yale just plays well. I forgot his name, but he had a triple double or something like that. No, might have been someone else. That might have been Clemson.
It was Illinois.
Illinois, yeah.
Marcus Domask.
I know that this guy on Yale just does everything, and another guy, Polakaitis, 28 points, 10 for 15 from the field. That's how you win games. You get someone that can shoot. That's the only reason you win college games and then March Madness is you shoot well. And I mean, Wolf, he's probably one of my favorite players in the field. It's gonna sound weird, but he gets assists, he gets rebounds, he does everything for them. So I'm excited for the next round, even though I probably have maybe under 30% on my bracket correct for the rest of the tournament because of Kentucky and Sam Harris. And so, all right. Okay. Now, out of these I know we got a lot of Cinderella teams. Who is your pick to go to the Elite Eight? Maybe not the Final Four, obviously, because that's kind of a lot harder to do with the small amount of people. But who is your pick for the lower seeds, the double-digit seeds, to make it to the Elite Eight?
I'm looking at it. I'd probably go. I think Colorado.
Yeah.
They've got a chance against Marquette to move on. And they'd be playing. I think out of NC State, Oakland, Colorado, Marquette, at least one of those double-digit teams is probably going to make it out. I don't think James Madison has much of a chance to make a run. And same thing for Yale, because even if they beat San Diego State, they're most likely going to be playing UConn. So I think out of all of those, Oregon could also. They played great. But I think Creighton will handle them a little better.
Yep.
So,
for me, just because I'm a current fan of NC State, I do think NC State will beat Oakland. I don't think that kid shoots well against their wings, their lengthy wings, And then
Yeah.
when they play Marquette or Colorado, either one, I don't think they have the size to play against. Like NC State, they have big players. And DJ Burns is going to drop 40 on them because I don't know. I really like that team. And I think, obviously, 3 top 10 seeds out of 4 in that part right there are Marquette, Colorado, NC State, Oakland. Someone has to come out.
Yeah.
And Marquette played well. It was kind of close for a little bit. But I don't think they can play well against NC State. Obviously, I like the Oregon pick. They have good bigs, but it's going to be hard to play against Creighton. All the other double-digit seeds except Duquesne play against a Houston and UConn. Yale and James Madison, if they win their next game, they play against Houston probably or UConn, and I don't think they win that game. But Duquesne and Illinois, I think that is a chance. I think there's a chance there that Duquesne wins that game. And then they play against Iowa State, and I think Iowa State's not the best for an Elite Eight team. So I do think that they win that game as well. All right. Moving on to so now we're going to go into baseball a little bit. Now that we talked about March Madness, going to baseball a little bit. Have you heard about this Shohei Ohtani gambling scandal yet?
Yeah, I have. I saw it, I think, Thursday.
Yeah.
On ESPN.
So basically what's happening is his translator, which I don't know how this happens. How does a translator get access to funds, to your own funds? But Ohtani's lawyers are saying his translator stole money from him to pay off gambling debts. And he got fired the last week or something. And there's been a lot of speculation of what's going on. I know that $500,000 from Ohtani, straight from Ohtani to the bookie, was given like a month ago. It was happened twice. $500,000 twice, straight from Ohtani to the bookie. Now, do you think personally, if you think he's being a nice guy and paying off his friend's gambling debt, or do you think it's Ohtani making bet or doing gambling, and then he's just making his translator? He's paying his translator to, take the fall for him because he got caught. What do you think?
Well, so from what I've read, his translator had like $425,000 of gambling debts like a couple decades ago.
Yeah.
So I think, and obviously Ohtani's lawyers are claiming they don't have anything to do, like Ohtani doesn't have anything to do with this.
Yeah.
So I do kind of think it's the translator, because like they have no idea where he's getting the money from, I think. Or at least what I read this morning.
Right.
And so I don't know. It does seem a little sketchy.
I mean, it's a making of a inside job. That's just what it looks like.
Yeah.
It just looks like Shohei got caught. Even if it got stolen, even if he's paying off his friend's debt, it just looks weird. Yeah. So it looks odd.
I think it'll be a while before we actually know what really went down.
Yeah.
Because I know the IRS and the MLB's like Department of Investigations are looking into it right now. So
right, and if you're Ohtani and you're making $700 million over the next 10 years, and you want to place a bet that bad, and because in California you can't place a bet because he was in California both teams, like take a private jet to Kansas or something.
Yeah.
And just go make a bet, and then you don't have to use a bookie. Just like if you want to make bets that bad, don't use an illegal bookie that's being investigated for illegal gambling, because you're gonna get caught every time. millions of dollars. Two sources of the newspaper said that the money involved was millions of dollars. If this is true, if it's actually the translator, how does the translator get access to millions of dollars of Ohtani's money? You know,
Yeah, I think that's where some of the
speculation.
kind of, yeah, because they're saying he's like just stealing it from Ohtani and like embezzling it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's
Unless
it's
he's
so
like his manager, his translator
yeah,
slash manager. His title is manager, but he manages all of his funds and does all of his social media because that would make sense. But that's where the speculation comes from. Like, how does the translator get access to wire himself millions of dollars? And how does Ohtani not notice that earlier? After, even if I was a billionaire, I'd be like, well, maybe not billionaire. That's a lot of money. That you don't really know where your money's like all going. But if he's like let's say he has 500 million in the bank, you think like 5 million would be gone. He'd be like, what did I do? Where'd that go?
yeah. So I'm looking at the Athletic right now. They've got an article on it,
Yeah.
and apparently, according to ESPN, Ohtani initially claimed that he willingly paid off gambling losses of at least 4.5 million
Jesus Christ.
for Mizuhara. Both Mizuhara and Ohtani said this.
Okay. I see it now. Okay.
So.
I mean, I don't think he's gonna get in trouble for that. I think he's just being a good guy.
Yeah.
But that is, if you're placing bets on a game and it's over, okay, let's say you're a millionaire. You don't, with your bankroll, like, be careful, guys. That is 500,000. You probably put a 500,000 bet. It was a 500,000 wire. You put a 500,000 bet on a game. And especially if it's let's see. I know that it's a problem. He probably has a problem. But he's probably placing bets on MLB games, which isn't the best. Or Ohtani's games, which might make it worse for Ohtani. Might make him look worse, even if he has nothing to do with it. So I hope Ohtani's fine. I know that MLB started an investigation yesterday around like 3:00. I think he'll be fine. I don't think he actually did anything.
Yeah.
But it's just fun to talk about because if it comes out that Ohtani actually has a massive gambling debt or a massive gambling problem, I'm gonna like him more. I mean, I honestly, so
it's like MJ.
Yeah, I mean MJ did it the right way. He's like, yeah, I have a gambling problem. I mean, I could stop. I mean, I'm not really a gambling problem. It's like, but I like gambling. I have a lot of money.
Yeah,
so
it's a hobby.
Yeah, but he didn't bet on his own games, and he played blackjack and he played golf. He didn't bet sport. He probably didn't sports bet until he got out of the NBA, that we know of. So going straight to the NFL, I know there's a little bit of pickups that happened since we last talked about the NFL offseason. So first one is Mike Williams to the Jets. How do you like that acquisition?
I mean, if Mike Williams stay healthy, I think it's a good acquisition. But the past 3 years, he's had season-ending injuries. So I don't think it's gonna work out.
I think it's gonna be if he plays 10 games. I think that's a plus. Personally, like as a Jets GM, if he misses the middle of the season and they keep winning and A-Rod stays healthy, and they make the playoffs with Mike Williams, I think that's a plus. I think that's a win. I mean the contract is $15 million, but obviously he's gonna get less than $15 million because it's all based on games played and bonuses and stuff. But I mean, Mike Williams was just paid $32 million, so I think that is $15 million is a good price because if he stays healthy, he's a great player. He's going to add a lot of vertical threat and size to their offense that they don't really have. because all they have is Garrett Wilson. He's like 6'2", so and he's not
Yeah.
6'6" or whatever Mike Williams is. All right, the next one is Hollywood Brown to the Chiefs. How does this acquisition affect the Chiefs? I know we're going to talk about the Chiefs here in a second about what they did yesterday, but Hollywood Brown to the Chiefs. How do you like that acquisition for the Chiefs?
I like it a lot. I mean, he's a fast playmaker.
Yeah.
So
They've already shown that
I think-
they do a lot of stuff with fast playmakers too.
yeah, he's a huge upgrade from Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "Oh, Kadarius Toney's going to have a huge year with Patrick Mahomes." So I think he's going to be like a go-to guy. I think a consistent, like, will be able to catch the ball.
Right. That's what they need.
So yeah,
They need a vertical threat. I mean, I don't know where Scantling went. I think he's still there, but I'm not sure where he went.
no, they cut him.
Okay, so he hasn't signed yet. So that's who Hollywood Brown's gonna fill in for. That was kind of their vertical threat. I think he's gonna have a 1,000-yard season on top of as well as Kelsey with 1,000-yard season. Now they gotta do a lot of stuff in the draft. Obviously get a corner. They just traded L'Jarius Sneed yesterday for a bag of chips. 2025 third-round pick and a 2024 seventh-round pick. I thought L'Jarius Sneed was at least worth a second-round pick, one second-round pick, or maybe a third-round pick this year. The fact that they got L'Jarius Sneed for nothing, kind of. I mean, the chances that a seventh-round pick is going to be anything is kind of low. It's very low. But I think they freed up $18 million in cap space, which is cool. And they got to pay a lot of people next year. Trip McDuffie and all those, Nick Bolton. So I understand the move. I just don't understand why they had to move him so fast. They didn't have to move him like that. They could have waited until end of the season next year and moved him for probably more after he played another great year. So, what do you think about
that? Great deal for the Titans.
Oh yeah,
absolutely fleeced them. Because I also didn't the Chiefs franchise tag Sneed?
Yes.
So I don't understand.
And you never know. He could have probably when he got franchise tagged was like, I want to sign a longer term deal, and they're like, well, you got to wait a year because we don't have any money to pay all these people. So he's probably like, I want out. That's probably what happened, and the Chiefs just never said that he requested a trade because, but yeah, you never know. But yeah, the Titans aren't going to be the greatest team this year.
No,
unless they get a quarterback, unless they trade up and get a quarterback. But their defense is going to be okay. I think they'll be okay.
They made some moves.
Yeah,
you got Tony Pollard too.
Yeah, they'll be able to run the ball. They have to play differently than they have with Derrick Henry, obviously. So,
which they were starting to do that last year.
Yeah, it was more throwing the ball, and if they go with Will Levis for another year, I think they're a 500 team. They might. That's one of those teams that might trade up in the draft, get a JJ McCarthy or someone like that.
I could see that.
So, and then the last one that we're going to talk about today is Trent Brown to the Bengals. They have. I think that's a great pickup, even though Trent Brown kind of was out of it last year. I mean, he played for the Patriots, so I would understand being pissed that you're losing all the time and being like, I'm good. I'm going to save myself the free agency. But Trent Brown to the Bengals, they have Orlando Brown already, and Trent Brown. Trent Brown is 6'8", 380 pounds, and Orlando Brown is 6'8", 360 pounds or something crazy, or maybe 350 pounds. So two huge offensive tackles for the Bengals. They're going to be able to run the ball like crazy when they get a running back in the draft, and maybe they can save, Joe Burrow's, body a little bit longer, because he's our only hope. He's our only hope. For this Chiefs extravaganza.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you expect from the Bengals after this?
I like it, but somehow I have a feeling like their O-line is still going to be terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't feel like they really prioritize upgrading their O-line.
Yeah.
This is trending in the right direction. So I think it'll help. It'll help out a lot, but also they don't have Joe Mixon anymore, so they are going to have to find a solution.
Right, and they're about to lose T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Lost a lot of their defensive pieces. They have a great pass rushing core, but that's going to be hard to keep when you're losing all these people, and you're probably not going to be as good as you have been. So, lost a lot of their defensive players. Lost a lot of. They're going to lose T. Higgins probably if they don't sign a long-term contract, which is probably not going to happen because of how big Joe Burrow's contract is, because he's probably not going to restructure. Or it would have happened already, I think. I mean, I would have probably guessed that it would happen already. Because Joe Burrow probably knows that with this offensive line that he has, he probably is going to get hurt all the time.
Yeah.
Realistically. Like his agent's probably like, well, you've been hurt the last 2 years of your season-ending injuries, 2 years of your career. I would take all the money you can get.
Yeah,
and he's worth that amount of money. I'm not saying he's not worth that amount of money. Just being a smart, thinking like an agent. That's how I would go with that too. So it's gonna be hard to pay all those guys and keep them on the team. They're gonna fill a lot of holes with the draft picks this year, but. Yeah. So I think that's about it. And so yeah. All right, guys. This is a Unscripted Sports Take podcast. And you guys have a great day. Thank you.